Right. Hopefully that means I'm live. Hello. Right. So, what do I need to do to get everything sorted? I think that's everything looking fine. Believe so. Right, so where am I going to position things on my screen for making life easy? That is the question. So I see the chat, that's pretty much it. So you can just sort of go there in case you fiddle with settings. And then get the document up so I can see what I'm doing. Right. Right, good morning everyone. So I'm going to be working on my NaNoWriMo prep a little bit. The last world building, if I could speak, stream that I did, I was writing on paper, which I find preferable when I'm trying to like think things through in my head, like something about writing by hand. But now I'm going to be transcribing some of that and expanding on it, basically, into a document that I can easily jump to on my computer. Which may seem like a silly way to do things, but it works for me. So this way I can go through all the points that I came up with on the last stream about how the world works and just expand on them a little bit and give a bit more detail. So if you're working on something yourself, let us know. I'm going to do this a bit more, having some working time and non-working time, sort of not quite Pomodoro, but something to that effect. Yes. So, I was going to get up a timer of some description, wasn't I? Let's see. Can I bring up a Pomodoro timer and just put it in a little window or something? Let's have a look. Pomodoro timer. No, I don't want you to give me notifications. Okay, so this could work. So it's supposed to be a 25-minute on the Pomodoro, but I'm not going to do that. But this has automatic settings for 5-minute and a 10-minute timer, as well as the 25 for your breaks and things. So if I bring that into its own window, see if we can shrink it a little bit, because I don't need a massive thing. All right, let's add that on OBS, add an extra window capture. And make that visible. There we go. Now let's see, can we shrink that a smidge? Where can I put that? Ideally, I would like that just a little thing in the corner, really. So that'll do. That's not the most professional looking thing, but it'll do. Can I like crop this a little bit? Is that something I have an option to do? Don't mind me, I'm just working out how to do things. Transform. No, that's not gonna. Aha, crop left. Crop top. Ha ha ha, here we go. Right, okay, let's just type in a number and see how that goes. Oh, hello. That didn't quite work. Should have done this before I started, but that's fine. We'll just move that up like that. There we go, we're getting there. And then also bottom. Just want to get to the timer. Oh no, that's way too tedious. If I just type in a big number, maybe 200, that'll do. A little bit. Let's bring the top down a bit more. Perfect, there we go. That looks far more intentional. Just bring the left and right in a little bit as well. Perfect. There we go. Almost like I planned it. So, now that I've got that done, so yeah, I'm gonna slightly Pomodoro it, but without full-on Pomodoroing it. So, what I'm going to do is just start off with a 5-minute and then take a little break, and then we'll do another, then maybe do a 10-minute. I don't know if I'm going to bother with a full 25, because we'll see if anyone else is working on something and wants proper productive time. Otherwise, we'll just stick it on like shorter runs. So there we go. I'm going to do a little bit of work. I can still see the chat, so if anyone wants to say hi, please do. Right. So I spell oligarchy? Oligarchy, is that how you say it? Fair play. There we go. That's a really unpleasant noise. Cool. Oh, so that was the first little 5-minute burst. I may have to drop the volume on that because that was rather unpleasant to listen to. Well, my volume was pretty much maxed out. There we go. Sorry about that. Unpleasant beeping. Ugh. So, is anyone around? Anyone else working on anything? It's cool if not. Oh, I didn't tweet that I was live. I probably should do that. Ooh, I need the link. Where is the link? There we go. Ooh, right. So I need to think a little bit more on how they're going to use the magic. So the basic principle of it is shockwaves of moving particles and heat of changing the thermodynamic properties of particles. So not that I want to go too physics into it, but I do like to think of it in a slightly more physicsy way as a physics graduate, I suppose. Though I'm not going to try and science explain my magic. Like, it's magic, it's fine. So, but yeah, I need to think, what could I logically use to progress, like, aside from them heating and cooling things, and yeah, being able to send an impulse, but also use that sort of impulse to grab things. What else could they use those for? So I need to think on that and expand on that a little bit. Yes. So I think I'm going to go for another little burst, though I'm going to go for 10 minutes this time. And maybe I will go for a full Pomodoro. Who knows? We will see. We will see. Right, so I need to go to that timer again. Go for a long time this time. Okay. See you in 10 minutes. Let's make that shush. There we go. Ah, hello, how's it going? I'm hopefully going to have a nice big document with all my world building stuff by the end of this session. So, oh, is that really loud? Oh, I am sorry. Right, let's take that down and bring that down a bit as well. Okay, hopefully next time that will be much quieter. Very sorry. I forgot that my desktop audio was maxed out. My bad. Cool. Yeah. Hopefully the next alarm will be less jarring. Sorry about that. Whew, so we're getting there. I've nearly got a full page of notes, and I've only talked about the magic. So alarms are meant to be alarm. It's true. So how are you doing, Bryn? Are you still up for playing some Civ tonight? Plan our social events on my stream. Don't mind us, everyone. Oh, I forget how long the delay is on YouTube streaming compared to Twitch. Oh, it's so annoying. Like, I've got it set on the lowest possible latency, and it's still like when I'm looking at the stream in on the corner, it's like a good 10 seconds behind. Like, ugh. Cool. So, are you working on anything at the moment, Bryn, or just wanting some company? Because I'm trying to do this as a bit more of a productivity stream than I normally do. So yeah, I've actually got a timer up and I'm properly working for a bit, so we have a bit of quiet time. So just wanting company. Cool. That is fine. Oh, I've clicked off the wrong thing. Ah, too many windows open. So yes. Yeah, plan is I will have this document looking lovely and full of information. So far I'm getting the most important stuff, which is, yeah, how the magic works and the sort of institution of the warders and what they're all about. I want to come up with a bit more of a concrete sort of exactly what warders do amongst society, because obviously there's training other warders, there is some level of government that they have, and also technological research using the magic in the steampunk tech. But I don't want to have the situation where, you know, like in Harry Potter, for example, when the jobs that wizards have are working for the ministry, teaching at Hogwarts and running a shop, and that's all there seems to be in the world. I don't want that feeling of it's just like there are just a few set things that exist. I want to expand a little bit on various different roles that exist within the Warder Society. Make that feel as much of a real thing as possible. So I'm going to kind of focus on that. And then I also really need to focus on the monster, the beast, the Lovecraftian horror that exists that the initiates are being sacrificed to. I need to work out exactly what that thing's deal is, what people are going to refer to it as, and I really have to work out how the main character Argentia is going to discover it. Because currently it's just, she finds it, like, cool. I need to work out roughly what the situation is going to be for that. Like, I don't want to plan that out in complete detail, I just need to have an idea in my head of what's going to happen. So, yes, still got my notes from last time, which I'm kind of typing up as I go. So, how much longer? I probably should set the timer for my breaks, really, shouldn't I? If I'm going to try and productivity stream this, but keep it cash. Oh dear. All right. Cool. I like the little graphs that YouTube gives you about your stream. That's cool. See, we briefly had 4 people all at once for a brief moment, and then they went away. That's fine. If it's not for you, that's okay. So, right. So, I think what I'm going to do now is have another little 10-minute burst. I'm happy to chat whilst I write if people are up for that. I can either make it be quiet and it's just work time, or I can, yeah, sort of chat whilst I type. and think it through. But happy to do either. I'm happy to just work in silence for 10 minutes. I'm happy to ramble to myself for 10 minutes. Both are good. So it works for me. Cool. We'll kind of, I'll mainly be quiet, but if anyone pops anything in the chat, I will respond to it because I can see it. So we'll go with that. Right, another timer, please. 10 minutes. Off we go. There we go. Right, how loud was that time? Was that better? Was that still very loud? Let me know, I can drop the volume further. Much nicer, cool. Terribly sorry for the potential headache-inducing beep of the previous one. Apologies. Cool, getting there, getting there. There, I need a better name for the resistance. I don't want to just call it the resistance. Feels a bit Star Wars, so. But I can come up with that later, that's fine. I mean, that could be a find and replace situation when I'm actually writing, so. Cool. So yes, now I need to go on a bit more about the tech itself, because the technology isn't going to be that important to the story, but I just want to make sure I've got a good solid concept of in what ways the steampunk stuff is used. Magic steampunk. So is it what I'm picturing is that there's little like devices that can maybe various sizes depending on the complexity and scale of the machine, but like sort of cylindrical with lots of, you know, valves and pipes and stuff on it, but inside it is imbued with magic. So primarily it'll be the heat based magic, so it can work as a power source for like a steam engine, and will last for a very long time. And also because there's the movement sort of magic as well, that could also be, maybe some of them have two devices, one to allow it to sort of have some standard movement from like a mechanism, and then one that allows for more refined movement that's kind of influenced by magic, like a specific control in some form. I don't need to worry too much about exactly how that would work because again, it's magic, it's fine. But yeah, so sort of like imagining big like walking machines across fields doing like agricultural work, but then I want maybe smaller machines that exist in other ways. Like I was thinking from the previous stream, we mentioned there being like a game that the poorer classes take part in, and Argentia, although she likes to think of herself as now above the lower classes and part of this new world, that she still like sneaks out and takes part in this game. I think I was thinking of some kind of card game, but now I'm kind of came up with that I'm more drawn to is there being very small machines, like creatures that are like mouses. So rather than everyone having cats, everyone has these devices that kill vermin, and people have like reprogrammed them into like little fighting machines, because I think that could be kind of fun, of like little gambling on people's adapted mousing robots. So I kind of feel like that's something that might be fun. So I'm probably going to implement that. So I need to think of other like little machines. Like would most people have something like that in their home in some capacity, or is it only like the middle classes that would have that sort of thing? So yeah, I think it's cool. I think it's cool. So it's the little details that make a world feel like a real place. So I'm trying to get as many of those in my head now as I can, just so that, yeah, it makes a bit of sense later on. So yeah, like the main character, Argenta, she's going to have a cat, because I think cats are nice company, and she feels like the sort of person who would like a cat. So she's going to have a cat, but if you want one to actually want to get rid of vermin, there's a little machine to do that for you. So yeah, so sounds like a sort of automation that would power factories and derive poverty rather than lift people out of it. So yeah. So yeah, I'm picturing really big machines mostly. So like, yeah, agricultural things that are making other machines. There's going to be some tech that isn't powered by it, I think, to like maybe that they use that as like the steam power source, but not all of them have the movement fanciness, and they're more like a machine that would work in the real world, but rather than having some actual engine, it's got this in place instead. But yeah, I don't want to have it too advanced. I want to keep it sort of Victorian and not drive it into like then I don't want to end up feeling more Legend of Korra, which I think if I take it to like the 20s sort of feeling, that's how it's going to feel. So I want to keep it more Victorian, which is like a fine line when I'm not that good at history. I need to do a bit of research, a bit of Googling. I need to look at clothing. That's something I definitely need to do. I want to get an idea of what Victorian clothing would actually be rather than like steampunk fantasy Victorian clothing, because I'd rather bring from the source rather than going to the steampunk aesthetic for that. But yeah, I thought that's what you meant, driving poverty, yeah. So yeah, a few little machines that some people may have, but not the poorest people. So I think that Argentia, coming from a poor family, she wouldn't have had access to any of this sort of stuff. So I can imagine some middle class houses would have these machines to do laundry and clean dishes, and yeah, that's sort of the thing. So I need to plan to what level is it going to be implemented in like domestic life. It's going to be very much the thing for industrial. I've already mentioned Argentia as an amputee. She's got a fancy steampunk prosthetic, below the knee on her left leg, I think it was, we said. So I'm kind of feeling that she would have originally, because she lost the leg as a child, would have had a very basic prosthetic. And then when she got chosen for the warders, she got then provided a much better prosthetic, which has a huge impact on why she feels so indebted to the warders, because they've improved her life in a lot of ways since she's joined that organisation, which is going to make the realising they're evil very fun for her. So it'll definitely be implemented in medical context, because I'm kind of thinking if I'm having the fine motor sort of power source, the magic side of it to allow for movement, they could have it used in sort of medical procedures in some way, sort of like how we've got really fancy robots now that you can control to do little things, maybe something along those lines for the upper classes to have for medical treatment. You could sort of tier the machines. The movement ones are industrial, very upper class, and the steam ones are a bit more clunky, domestic and dirty. Fair point, fair point. So do they have the fancy extra power source, or do they just have the basic heat one? That's a good way to do it. This tea is cold, but I'm thirsty, so it'll do. There. Right, so I'm kind of just going to stream of consciousness into this next writing session just to get as many thoughts out of possible things with the tech, get my head around what level I want it to be at, and then I'll have a slightly longer break because I'm going to need to get another drink in the next break. So, right, timer, another 10-minute burst, let's go. One day I'll be good at spelling. don't know if you can hear my washing machine singing as it's finished in the next room. It's such a jaunty tune. Don't know if you can hear that, but So I've talked about the magic is energy based. So would they be able to use it to do things like X-rays and like, is it gonna go into producing light forms, or am I just gonna have it be like force fields and thermodynamics? Like, because potentially they could have had methods to like scan people in various ways, whether it's sort of like an MRI or things like that, that they're able to use magic to diagnose. Maybe they've now started developing some methods to use machines to do it. I'll make a note. So, could be interesting. It's a thought. All right. Let's just stop that and finish my sentence. Okay, so that's a decent bit of thinking about the tech. Unfortunately not. Ooh, what was that in reference to? I missed that. I'm very sorry, Bryn. Right, so I think I'm going to take a little bit of an extended break now, rather than about 5-10 minutes, have a little bit longer, because I could do with getting myself another cup of tea, because my tea remnants are cold and that makes me sad, and pop into the loo. So I'm going to disappear away from the screen for a couple of minutes. I could do with just bringing up like a thing onto OBS. Can I just make some text? Just say going to pee, BRB. Text, hello. Ooh, I can. Taking a short break. BRB. Ooh, I have font choices. Fancy. We'll leave it on Arial, because Arial's fine. Ooh. Alright, let's bring that up front. Let's make that a smidge smaller so it's I'm a professional. There we go, that'll do, right? Right, I'm just going to mute my mic and I will be back in a moment. Alright, I'm back. Washing machine. You need to press enter to make new line. It won't wrap. I'm very confused. I need some context, Bryn. I'm very confused. Okay, so there's a bit more detail on the technology. Do I have anything else in my notes from last time about the tech? Not really. Sort of I got left that I haven't talked about from the previous time that I need to expand on. So we've done the waters, we've done the magic, we've done the automatons, we've done the resistance. So it's the monster really, isn't it? It's the monster. Alright. So where am I going to put that? Put this up with the waters maybe? Because the monster's more plot relevant than the tech is. So, the monster. Right. So, do another 10-minute, maybe? Yeah, we'll go with that. Do another 10-minute. Yeah, long break. Short work. Right. Oh, the washing machine making the noise. Yes, okay, I'm with you now. I'm with you. Oh yeah, yeah, that makes sense. I was trying to work out how to resize it because it just came up massive. So struggle with not looking at the chat constantly. I get confused. going to finish that thought. Okay. So that ended up being just a bit of a letting my mind wander and come to some conclusions sort of sesh there. So I don't know if I'll go with this, but maybe the monster is defeated by a non-magical method. Maybe it's technology from the people, the lower classes, that have been working on things that don't rely on magic. And maybe that is what manages to defeat the monster. I feel like that would fit a little bit more with the sort of theming of the whole class structure sort of aspect of the story, which is very much the thing. Is it too heavy-handed though as a message? Maybe. But that doesn't matter. This is just meant to be a bit of fun. So it doesn't have to really be like a nuanced take on yeah, working class, upper class divides. But at least that kind of, yeah, thematically then works, rather than it just being they've got to get better at magic to defeat it. Because in that way, it kind of makes it magic is a part of the world, but it's not the point of the story, like, which I kind of like. So yeah, maybe something along those lines. Interesting thinkings. So I think the only other thing I need to decide on is a bit on the warders, because like I was saying at the start of the stream, I don't want to end up with a situation where there's very little for warders to actually do and the numbers of them doesn't really make sense. And yeah, I need to build up as a society a little bit more what warders are capable of and what they do, because they use magic, but that doesn't mean that everything that they do as a job needs to use magic. Like if they are the ruling classes, you know, I'm sure plenty of them would be, you know, bureaucrats and things like that. So I need to kind of, yeah, work out, have a list of sort of career prospects for warders, just to kind of have that in my head. Ugh. But I'm gonna have to go for lunch soon. So a little bit more of a little just chill. And then I will probably do one more session and then end the stream there, I think. Alright, what am I gonna do? It's gonna, yeah, have a little chill for a few minutes. Haha, I have to approve that message, Bryn. Swearing. But yeah, get some stuff done. Don't know what I'm doing with the rest of the afternoon. I'm gonna have a video call with my mum at some point. But I might end up doing a bit more of this just in my own time, because NaNoWriMo is only a few days away. Start on Sunday. So I've just got a couple more days to finish getting my head around this world and what's actually going on. So have I left this a little bit late? Perhaps. But it's fine. Like, I can't overthink it too much. I've got to just be like, yeah, that makes sense. Let's go with that. Which I think works. Works for me anyway. Okay. Oh, I'm tired. That doesn't make any sense. So. Another 10-minute burst, get some warder career paths sorted out. Excuse me, no, restart. No, shush. Ugh. It's NaNoWriMo, it's meant to be a bit spur of the moment. Good. Right. If I hit start, will you start beeping again? No, you will actually start the timer. Good. Right. Alright, career prospects for warders. Let's make a list. Ooh. Whacking things. Careers, etc. Right. So, obviously, teacher at the academy. Let's get the obvious ones out of the way. So, we'll say politics because I need to break that down a bit more, but if they are in control of the government, basically, then I need to decide exactly what that means. But presumably, it'll be people who organize things and run things. We'll go with, okay, military, because they use magic as in combat, so it makes sense that they would be the military. Research, inventors, etc. So using magic, either using magic straight up in new ways or implementing it in technology in new ways. So yeah, scientists, engineers, that kind of thing. What else would there be? So there's the outreach stuff. So this is to other warder countries, non-warder countries. So within warder countries, so that would be like recruiting new initiates. So that would be the searching for the lower class people, etc. Testing people for magic potential. And then non-warder countries would be sort of your standard diplomacy sort of stuff, with also that being the excuse for where the sacrifices have gone. So diplomacy stuff. But where else could they be? I've talked about there being some medicine related stuff, so presumably that then would be a career option. They're likely to be the most educated people anyway, so even if it was non-magical use, I think they'd probably be the most likely to go on to become doctors and things anyway. What other sort of things would they do? And it's also where I don't know much about how things work in the upper classes in the real world, so trying to draw parallels is a bit hard. It's like, I'm not part of that world, I don't know how that goes. True. They could go on to do pretty much anything, but I want to keep it that they see themselves as above other people. So even like the sort of the middle and upper classes that exist that are non-magic using, they wouldn't necessarily reduce themselves to doing something that could be done by one of them. At least not too much. Like, that's kind of what I'm thinking. They have a very, like, we are better than you sort of attitude. So although they could do things like starting up their own manufacturing company or running a shop or some other kind of business or working at a bank, they probably would not choose to because they probably see it as beneath them. So I suppose maybe some of them wouldn't, especially the ones that have come from poorer backgrounds. So yeah, maybe there would be an element of some people choosing to do that. I'll kind of just label that as traditional jobs, but with the caveat of it just sort of being like mainly orders from lower classes, so they would be less snobby over it perhaps, because I'm sure there'd be a lot of ways that using magic in a standard job would be useful, but most of them wouldn't lower themselves to that. Tradition jobs, traditional, slightly different implication. And I might put in that maybe like family business. So yeah, so ones that have come from a sort of, yeah. Police, yes, true. Let's stick that under military, closer to there. Police. There you go. So yeah, so like people who've come from more middle and upper class families who maybe, you know, their family do already have industry sort of businesses that they run that are putting them in that class. They might then go on to run that business later on or be part of it in some way, just as a magic user. So yeah, policing, definitely a good one. I was kind of bundling that under military in my head, which says something about me probably. On my views on that sort of thing. Am I thinking of it as a bit of a militaristic state, sort of, where there's going to be quite a heavy-handed rule? Because that's a good way to make the general public be a bit more antagonistic towards them as well, if they're a little bit sort of, they make the rules, they enforce the rules, like they have all of that going on and they're quite militant about it. That's a decent selection. It's more than I feel like exists in, like, yeah, Harry Potter, for example, which is very limited in what people do. But because yeah, it's going to be very insular in general. Most warders are from warder families. They will probably do whatever their parents were doing within that structure. They're going to be the new people who've come in from the lower classes, many of which who are just, you know, sent off to the colonies and things. And the ones that remain are probably more likely to want to do outreach work, to either recruit new people or maybe doing, like, helping the poorer people in some form, in whatever way they're allowed to. So yeah, let's subtitle that one a little bit, sub-bullet even. So yeah, recruit new initiates, charity work, because that helps them to reinforces the idea that recruiting from the lower classes is something that they're doing to appease the lower classes rather than sacrificing them. Cool. I'm sure I can add more things to that as I think over time, but just nice to have a little bit of a list in my mind. So what does entertainment look like in this world? We've established that they're going to have projector technology, so there's going to be sort of like theatre screenings of films and TV shows, that kind of thing, like back at the start of, like, when black and white film was existing. So that kind of thing's going to exist, and we've got the little robot fighting sort of aspect. But yeah, I could do with working on a bit more about what people just do in this world. So Where should I put that? Put that under the technology, sort of general world building down the bottom. Entertainment. Entertainment / daily life. What are the average people getting up to? So I think I'll just bullet point the whole of this because it's just thoughts. So we've got film, cinema. Oh, hello. Right, so that is my... Oh, it does just stop on its own. Well, that's good. Good to know. So, cinema. Would help if I could spell that. I'll go on to that a little bit more in my own time, I think. But I think I'm going to draw the stream to a close there. Because, yeah, that's definitely got the bulk of stuff I wanted about the world. Like, this was a blank document at the start of this. Out of interest, what's the word count? It is 1,283. So if this was a NaNoWriMo day, I'd almost have hit the target, 1,600 odd words for a day. So I haven't actually spent much time doing much typing. So cool. Right, yeah, I probably work a bit more on this in my free time. There may be one more prep stream before we actually get into NaNoWriMo, though this might be the last one. Ooh, big stretch. Right, yeah, hope you have a nice, productive afternoon, everyone. And, yes, I'm going to leave that all there. So, yeah, catch up with you later. Send me a message, let me know if you're free for playing some Civ later, Bryn. Catch you later. I was about to check if I can raid anyone, but I'm not on Twitch. This is YouTube. I can't raid. So, okay, see ya.